Welcome to Beauty Mastermind TV, a bi-monthly TV series for hairdressers.
Our guest artist will share with you their knowledge of the best cutting, color and styling techniques, plus give you the tips and tools you need to take your career to the next level. Learn why the top stylists are using the best quality tools from Japan, France and Spain, Mizutani, YS Park, Ibiza Hair, Sunlight's Balayage, Ecru New York and more. Yes! Gain the confidence to become successful with the guys that hardly ever speak in front of large audiences, but when they do, wow!
Your host, Edwin Lombardi and Patrick Marchison.
Welcome everyone to beautymastermind.com. So Patrick, what are we going to be doing today?
Well, actually, we're going to be watching one of your really nice haircut on long hair, where you do the point cutting and you do the texturizing, and half of the haircut is wet and half the haircut is dry. I think all of our viewers are going to be very happy to see your techniques.
Yeah, what I really like about this, I like to do this a lot on my clients. It's a combination of wet cutting and dry cutting. So I'll first cut the perimeter, I'll blow dry it, and then all the texturizing and layers, I do that on dry cutting. You really get a totally different effect when you do dry cutting, because you see instant results. Every time you cut a section, boom, right there, you see what it looks like. And it just, you get a little softer edge than when you do it wet, because wet gives you a little bit more crisp of a line.
Right, right.
So let's go ahead and watch the video, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it afterwards.
Okay, right? Great, let's watch it.
Hi, my name is Leah. I'm very excited for Edwin to do something special with my hair today. Give me some nice, sexy layers so I can shake my head and have them flow in the wind.
Welcome everyone. Today I'm going to be doing another long haircut. My model Leah has real beautiful hair. It's silky, and I'm going to be cutting it in two different steps. The perimeter, I'm going to cut it wet. Then I'm going to blow dry her hair, and I'm going to do all the layers on dry hair. I like doing this half wet, half dry hair cutting because you really can see instant results when you cut dry hair. Now Leah, she has highlights in her hair with bleach and high lift blondes. So there is a little bit of dryness to the hair, not very much. So Valerian, what I need you to do is shampoo Leah with the Luxe Treatment shampoo and the Protective Silk Conditioner, because it's more moisturizing for the hair. Okay? Okay, so my model's back, and now before I start the hair cutting, I'm going to use some Acacia protein oil. Rub it into my hands, and this is more nourishing for the hair. It's going to make the hair more smoother and silkier, help remove any of the frizziness and dryness. So I'm really pressing it into the hair. I'm not rubbing it so much into the root area, but all of this hair, I press it together. And then with the comb, I'm going to work it through even some more. So it's really important that you comb it through the hair, get a nice smooth panel, and with your hands just press together all the way to the ends. And that's going to get the product smooth all the way through the whole entire shaft instead of just in little spots. And you'll get better results from any product that you use on your clients. So now I'm ready to start the haircut. Now, what I want to do on Leah is start off by cutting the perimeter. So if you're not familiar with the fundamentals of design, check it out on my website. There's a whole series of 9 haircuts. And these are the classic techniques that I use all the time, except I modernize them by maybe adding texture to them. So I'm going to come here and take off a couple of inches and cut the back square. And I'm going to start off by having Leah stand up while I cut her hair. Okay, so the next step is to having a good scissor. And again, I recommend the Mizutani scissors. And this scissor is one of their newest scissors. This is the Acro Z series. And this is the nano powder metal. This is great for cutting blunt lines, for pointing into the hair. It's got a sturdy feel to it. And you can find these in the website with more information. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to part it down the middle and take horizontal sections and work my way up. Against the black shirt, it was really hard to see the line. Not only is it hard for you to see it, but for me too as a hairdresser. And I do that a lot with the clients. Like if they have dark hair, I'll put on a white cape. If they have blonde hair, I'll put on a black cape. And it makes it easier to see the line that I'm cutting. So I'm having Leah stand up, and I want to make sure her body position is nice and straight, that she's not tilted from one leg or the other. Both is the same. And she's holding on to the styling chair. So now what I'm going to do is just cut this straight across blunt through the whole perimeter, and then when I do the dry cutting, I'm going to texturize a lot of these ends. I'm using my comb as like a guide or ruler. And then I go in with the scissors. And I cut. And what I'm doing right now, this is basically called no tension cutting. It's a square line with no tension. I've done this same technique this short on a bob. So now, like I said earlier, clean sections are important. So some hairdressers say, well, how thick should your sections be? Me personally, I do it where I can still see my guideline underneath. I like them a little bit thicker. Some hairdressers prefer to do them thinner. So as long as you can see your guideline, then you're okay. And since I'm cutting a square line down here, my sections are parallel to my perimeter line. So I'm just combing the hair down. And what you want to do is you want to just let the hair fall down naturally. Her head is not tilted down. It's almost just at a normal head position. So I comb this down, and now that I have my line, I could just cut this freehand. Now, one way is to cut it freehand, and sometimes it pushes the hair over a little bit. So if you don't want the hair to move, that's when the comb will hold it in place. Okay, so now what I did is I cut the hair, then I took a step or two back to look at my line to see if it's looking good or if I need to fix anything, because from farther away you can see your line better than up close. And now what I'm going to do is repeat the same process all the way to the top of the head. Comb this down. I can also hold it against her back, and then with the scissor I can see. So what I'm doing is I start off and I cut the first couple inches, then I move my comb over and do the same here, and then I move the comb over until I finally get to the end. Because if I keep my comb all the way, by the time I'm here, my hand will hit the comb, and it's easier not to hit the comb, so just move the comb over each time, and then you won't have that problem. And when you distribute the hair from the part, you want to make sure you do it right from the part. Spread the hair out and let it do its natural fall. And once you have it all spread out, then put your comb parallel to your guide, cut, move the comb over, so right now what I'm achieving is just a thick, blunt line, which is what I want, but when I'm all done, it's not going to be this blunt. It's going to be texturized and layered, so I'm going to soften it up my line when I'm all done. Now, I'm trying to be out of the way for the camera, so I'm cutting off to the side only so I can get a clear camera view. But in the salon, I would actually be right in front. and I would be able to see my line even better. Because from the side, it's harder to see the angle of the cut as good as when you're face on. So my last two sections, bring this down. These scissors are really nice. They're really sharp. They have a nice, clean cut to them. And I really think that if you ever want to invest in a really good pair of scissors, Mizutani is a really good investment. And I don't just say that because I sell them. I say them because I really believe these scissors are great scissors. And I wouldn't be using them if I didn't like them. Okay, so I cut the first part, which is the back. Now I'm going to cut the left side and then the right side. So I'm going to turn Leah around. Now this hair is starting to dry because of all the lights in the studio. And in every video I mention that this bottle right here is called the Micro Mister. And it might not seem like a big important thing, but this bottle right here gives the hair a fine mist. So I'm not wetting the hair down where it's soaking wet. It's just leaving the hair all moist and just perfect for the amount of water I need for cutting. And out of this little bottle, you get 400 squirts, so it goes a long ways. And I definitely would invest in a Micro Mister as part of my toolkit right away. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this cape and flip it around so I have a smooth surface, just like I had in the back. And then what I do is I just get the clips and just clip it back so that way it pulls on the cape so I can have a clean surface to cut. And in the back, I'm separating the hair down the middle. And now I'm going to take a horizontal sections from the front all the way to the center back parting. So what you want to do next, you want to make sure that your client is standing straight. Both knees are equal, her body position is straight. Now what you want her to do is look to the right, but keep the body straight. You don't want the body to turn with her head, just keep the body straight. Turn as much as you can. You're going to bring the hair over from the back. And you want to make sure that she's not looking downward, but just at a normal head position. Now from here, you just continue blending the line. So you have one continuous line right there. And this is a good technique because if you were to do it this way, the shoulder is in the way. So by having her look to her right, she gets the hair out of the way of the shoulder, and you can just continue that angle. Or if you wanted to switch it up and go more straighter, you can do that too. So now I'll just take another horizontal section. I'm going to comb the hair down, and you want to spread the hair out with its natural fall. See, as I'm working my way forward, there's less hair to cut. because the front was already shorter from her previous haircut. So I'll bring down the last section. Okay, now turn your head back this way. All right. Now if I want to, I can grab the whole entire section with a little tension and just clean up any little edges there. There's barely anything to cut. So what I'm going to do now is the exact same thing on the opposite side. So I'll take, see, usually this is the finest part of the hair. So my section, I'll start up a little bit higher so that there's some weight to this first section here. So spread the hair out. And just, I'm going to line my scissors up with my previous guideline from the back. And now from there, I just move forward. Now if her hair was curly, I would have to change my technique with tension because curly hair springs up too much. So I would still have her do what I'm doing now. The only difference is I would do it with the hair between my fingers, and then I would just cut like this. And you can even do the same haircut on straight hair with tension if you feel more comfortable using tension. Okay, so now I finished cutting both sides. I'm going to bring the hair forward, and I just want to check and make sure that both sides are looking pretty even. Okay, so now I'm going to cut the fringe, and her hair is already dry from the lights here. So I'm going to start cutting them dry. And what you have to do is decide what do you want to do with the fringe. Now Leah's bone structure goes in a little tighter here, and it's wider here at the cheekbones. She has nice cheekbones. I don't want to cover them up because that's a good feature. You have to look at your client's face and look, okay, does she have nice features that you want to highlight? Or is there a feature that you don't want to bring attention to? For example, like let's say someone has a big nose. Well, you don't want to give someone a V-bang that points right to the nose. You might want to do it at an angle where it doesn't put so much attention on her nose. Leah has really nice facial features, and I don't want to cover up her cheekbones. I want to expose them because that's a good feature on her face. So whether I cut her fringe straight or round or V, I want to make sure that this is short enough that I expose this area of her cheekbone. And because she most of the time wears her hair a little bit to the side, I think what I'm going to do is cut her fringe a little asymmetrical this way on the left side, and then I'm going to change my angle to almost maybe straighter over here. So I'm going to come here, lift the hair up, put the comb underneath. I'm going to put the comb at the angle that I want to cut the hair. And then I'm going to lift out a little bit away from the eyes, and I'm going to point. Then let go and see if that is looking like a short enough angle to you. It probably can be a little bit shorter, but let me go ahead and cut this side here. And then I can start to look and see if I'm liking the length or if I need to take more. I think I'm going to just take it a little bit shorter. And I'm probably going to open this up a little bit. Okay, so now I'll bring down my next couple sections. Bring down my last section, and then I have to decide how heavy do I want the bang to be. Do I want to make this part of her fringe, or do I want to leave that long? I think for now I'm going to leave it. After the blow dry is where I make a few changes. So what I'm doing is, by cutting this line back, it really opens up this area of the eyes and the cheekbone. And if she blow dries this over to the side, it'll just feather, just kind of soft. Okay, so now Basically, if I were to stop right here, this can be a haircut on its own. Just a clean blunt line, some blunt pointed bangs. Now she could blow dry it and it'll look good. But I want more than what I just did on her hair. I want to do layers. So what I'm going to do next is blow dry Leah's hair, and then I'm going to do the second half of the haircut dry. So I'm going to have Leah sit down, and I'm going to start the blow dry process. Okay, so with Leah, I want to create a little volume with the blow dry. I've already used the Acacia protein oil, which makes the hair a little bit more silkier. So I'm going to use the volumizing silk mist and spray this closer to the roots all over from a distance, so I get a fine mist. So I spray, I lift, get the spray inside the hair, and just work it all the way through the hair. And then, once you got it through the hair, now you're ready for the blow dry. I just finished spraying a volumizer to give volume to Leah's hair. Now, tools are really important. And right here, I have the best Japanese brushes in the world. I have Sanbi brushes, I have YS Park brushes, I have Mizutani brushes, and I do have one here from Ibiza Hair. It's made in Spain, and it's snuck in there because it is a good brush and I like it. Now the thing is, I like having a big selection of brushes because they do make a difference. Some have softer bristles and some have a harder bristle. And for certain hair types, one brush works better than the other. On Leah's hair, I'm going to be using the Shoji brush. This is made by Mizutani. You can see how nice this brush, it's hand carved. Inside here is hollow. Inside here is hollow, so the brush is very light. It's boar bristle, and it has lots of boar bristles. So this is going to leave the hair with nice body to the hair. All through here, it has all these ridges, and this is great for the thumb when you're spinning the brush. The brush doesn't slip because it has all those little ridges to grip to. So that's what I'm going to be using today is the Mizutani Shoji brush. And I don't want to blow dry Leah's hair perfectly silky. I want it to be a little bit beachy, a little bit rougher, so I'm not going to smooth it out perfect. I want to keep a little bit of the body in the hair. So I'm going to start off by blowing the hair, taking horizontal sections just like I did when I did my hair cutting. So her hair is almost dry. I would say it's about 70% dry. So I don't need to power dry the hair and remove moisture because here in the studio, the lights are drying the hair. With the brush, I'm laying the hair over my nozzle, and then with the brush, I'm detangling the hair. And just by doing that, you can already see how it's already gotten smooth and shiny, and I didn't even use any heat. So when I go through with the blow dryer, I'm only going to do Okay, so I finished blow drying Leah's hair, and now if I left her this way, she would look good just the way it is. Basically, it's all one length with a short fringe, and she's got beautiful hair, and this is a nice haircut just on its own. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the whole perimeter and break up that blunt line. The reason why I cut it blunt is because I still wanted to see that the strong line, but not completely one length. I want it to be broken up. So I'm going to take horizontal sections, just like I did when I was cutting her hair. And if Valerian, you can just hold that out of the way for me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the center. I'm going to get the hair with the comb. I'm going to comb down with my fingers like a peace sign. I'm going in, flip your fingers this way, so that way you can flip the hair up. And you want to leave a good 2 inches, so when you're pointing in, that gives you room so you don't cut your fingers. So I'm going to go in and start breaking up that line. I still want to keep the line, but I want to create spaces in between. Okay, so let that section go. I'll take the section to the left, and my fingers are parallel to the ends here. See, so when you flip your fingers up, that makes the hair stand up, and it's easy to cut into your line. See, so I still have that strong line in there, but you can see how it's starting to get a little diffused compared to this side. I'm not looking to make this all jagged. I still want to see that straight line. Okay, so I cut my first section, and what you want to look for is that it's pretty much evenly thinned out all the way across, like it doesn't look too thick, maybe in one spot. Okay, once you finish cutting that first section, I'm going to clip it out of the way because I don't want to keep cutting into that anymore. So I'll take my next section, and this time my sections are about 1 inch to 2 inches wide because I don't really need to look for a guideline. I'm basically cutting into my perimeter line. And when I put my scissors, I line my scissors up with the direction that you see the hair, so that way I don't cut big old spaces. Because if I put my scissors at an angle like this, see how it cuts a space? Well, that's what I don't want. I want it, basically I'm trying to just diffuse the line, not cut spaces out. This is just for softening up the line and taking away some of the bluntness. That's all I'm trying to do with this technique. So take the hair out of the way again. And I always start in the center back, and then I work to the left and then the right side. And I try to remove even amount of hair from the entire section. And this will be my last section on the top. This top section I'm going to do a little bit more, because when the hair falls down, I wanted to see a little bit more unevenness on the top piece. Plus, I'm going to add some more layers on the top. Okay, so now if I bring everything down, you can see how I still have a strong line, but it's changing the bluntness of the ends. So what I want to do next is the same thing on the sides. I'll just take a horizontal section. I like using the longer comb because I like taking big sections when I do this, and I have more control with the longer comb for this particular cut. See, so when it's dry, you can see what's happening to the hair. When this is wet, you don't get the same effect. So that's why dry cutting works really nice. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the right side. And this will be my last section. Okay. See, like if I were to stop right now, she would look really good with the way it is with just the soft edges here. So this would be perfect for someone that you've been cutting one length and maybe you want to transition her or give her something a little newer. Well, this is very subtle. It's just a little bit of layering on the ends. And maybe for us, it might be like a little change, but for the client, it's a big change. And this would be a nice transition. Then later you can move on to maybe layering it more for the clients that are a little bit scared. But that's what I'm going to do next. Now is the part that is going to be more creative. It's a little bit harder to duplicate because you can't really get it the same every time. So I'm going to start off by trying to figure out how short do I want these layers. So I'm going to tilt the head down. Okay, so what I'm doing, here's our part, it's a little bit off to the side. So I'm going to start my layers on the part. So I'm just picking up a little section of hair and I'm opening and closing as I'm sliding down the hair. Take a section next to that, open and close my scissor as I slide down the hair. I could slide through the hair, but I think that on dry hair, it can tear the hair or the cuticle of the hair. So I think it's a little more gentle when you're opening and closing the scissor as you slide down. And this might seem like, well, where's your guideline that you're picking up? That's why I said that this part of the haircut is a little bit more creative, because it's not like the beginning of the haircut where everything was more structured and you saw a definite guideline. This is the part now where it can make a hairdresser different from another, because now you're adding your own creative touch to it. And what I'm doing is little at a time. I'm taking my time and I just cut a section of hair. I let it fall down. I'm checking to see what it's doing. And then I decide if I need to do more, or eventually I reach the point where I decide that I need to stop. So I did the right side, now I'm going to do the left side. So as I'm sliding down, I'm picturing some short layers coming through here. Now, just kind of lift with your fingers, just see what's happening. Do I like it, or do I want to see more? A lot of times, I'll just do what I just did, just on the top layer of the hair, and leave the rest pretty much all one length. And then it's just kind of subtle highlights. Now, if you want to take it a step further, then now you got to work down more and do the same technique. So I did the two side panels, now I got to do the back. And if you can see that I'm just basically working off the top of the head right now. And these layers are so subtle, they blend in. You don't see a definite step with the layers. This is great for the girls that say, I like a little bit of volume on top, because these pieces now are light enough to give her some volume. Okay, since this is the thickest part of the hair, I'm going to start working my way down. Start in the center, and what you need to do is, even though this is so uneven, the layers, I do have a system and a pattern. Like I start in the center, like I'm taking pie sections here and then pie sections here. My scissor basically starting about here. Sometimes it's here, sometimes it's here, sometimes it's a little bit lower. So I get a little bit of unevenness. And when I slide down, sometimes I slide all the way to the ends, and other times I might cut it shorter so there's a little bit jaggedness. But they're small pieces, so it just blends really good, even though they're different lengths. To make it easier for you, you can just do each section basically the same length. See, I think that doing this on dry hair is really good because you just instantly see the results. And you have to have a decent blow dry so you can see the hair, how it's looking. If this was all frizzy, then the cutting would probably make it look frizzier. So right now I'm concentrating a little bit more on the back just because there's more hair back here and it's more one length. And for this, it's good to have like just a light touch. You don't have to be like rough and attack the hair. Okay, you can. See, I cut off a lot of hair, but to me, it looks like there's still a lot of hair there. And just see how nice these layers are moving. Then you have to look because, for example, Leah has two colors. There's the dark underneath and the blonde on the top. Well, how do these layers blend? Does it look blunt anywhere? And if it does, maybe you need to just go in and layer a little bit more so those ends start becoming more diffused. So you have to feel the hair and make sure you cut it, to take off the same amount on both sides, but then you also have to look at how it looks, especially when you have color going on. That can tell you to just do a little bit more. Okay, so I did the back. Now I'm going to do the front. And I have to decide, do I want to have the bangs and then this long around the face, or do I want to see more shagginess? I do want to keep some of this long, but maybe the layers behind it can be shorter, so it's a little bit shaggier. So I'll take this a little bit diagonal, this section. And now I'm going to be a little bit more careful when I pick up my sections. See, like I comb this down. I want to leave this straighter. This is just my own personal preference. So it looks long around the face, but behind it, I don't mind to create some shorter layers. Also, I'm looking that I'm not removing too much weight from here, because I still like to have thickness to the hair. Okay, so now just comb this out of the way. I'm going to take another diagonal section. See, this is pretty much all one length here. So take one section, then this one's a little bit longer. And let's say this is your first time to try this. Well, especially if you're newer in the business, maybe don't cut as much hair as I'm cutting. Start off with just a couple of layers on the top of the head like I originally started. And then as you start to feel comfortable with the technique, then you experiment and do more. And there might be some times where maybe you overdid it and you cut too much hair off, but that's how you learn. So, mistakes are part of learning. And for example, this is where I start my first cut. That means when this first layer falls, it's going to be this short. So from shorter to longer, it's going to blend. Because I want to see shagginess here. I don't want it to be all one length and just on the ends. I'm looking for something a little bit more funner with the cut. Now let's say she comes to you 2 months later for a cut. I won't need to do all of this texturizing, or else she'll end up with thin hair. So next time that she comes to me for a cut, the bottom I could do the same and trim point to the bottom, but when it comes to all of this you just maybe might be a little bit more on the ends because you've already layered it so much. So you have to know that you don't do the same haircut every time, or she's going to end up with little hair by the third haircut. Okay, so you could see the difference where this is more one length, which looks nice. And this side's got more shagginess to the layers. So again, the very front hairline here, I want this piece to be a little longer, so I'll just get that out of the way. So now this here I can start putting, shorter layers. And I like her head to tilt down a little bit so I could see how the layers are looking towards the face. Also, another thing that I discovered by taking the section underneath that I already cut out of the way, I can see this better because it's not so thick with the hair underneath. So, like for example, right here it looks a little bit thicker than through here. So I can come back here and just take a little bit more. Okay, so this is my last section. Now I'll let all of this down, and now's the time to just take a look and see how it's starting to look with all the layers. Okay, so we're finished with the cut. You can see the finished look. Soft layers, very feminine. You can't tell where the layers start or begin. They all just blend into each other. Very pretty, very feminine, sexy. If she wants to get volume out of her hair, it won't be hard for her because she's got all these different lengths. And this is our mid-length series for the long to medium length series. And I hope you enjoyed it. We got some more coming up in the next month. So any questions, leave a comment at the bottom, and we'll see you soon.
I never get tired of watching this haircut. This is awesome. I really like those scissors. I really want to have a pair of those Mizutanis. They look really nice and sharp.
And that's what I wanted to bring out. Okay, besides being able to do good cutting, good cutting techniques, you also need good tools, good scissors, good brushes, good products. It all makes the haircut 100% better.
It showcases your work.
It really makes a difference. You use a good scissor, everything just works better.
It glides instead of like just chopping it.
So the scissor that I bought, that I used in the haircut is called the Acrotype Z. It's one of their newest scissors. And if you want to know how to find it, you just go to beautymasteredmind.com website and you click on store, scroll over products, and then scroll over scissors and click on scissors. And then you just scroll down and then you'll find your Mizutani.
So many different models.
Yeah, we have about 70 different models, but then on top of that we have, each model has 2 or 3 different sizes, and then we have left and right.
Oh wow.
So probably in the store, you could say there's probably 150 choices or more.
Wow, that's great.
And not only are the scissors handmade in Japan and a great scissor, but whenever you purchase a Mizutani scissor, I will give you a $300 year membership to my haircutting seminars. It's an online course, which if you go to the menu bar and click on education, and then you click on haircutting seminars, you'll see an entire library of haircuts. And just click on the preview buttons and you can watch all the haircuts, the preview videos. Normally, someone would purchase this and they would have to click on purchase this course, then you fill out your credit card information, create a password, and then you have access 24/7 from your smartphones, computers, iPads, tablets, so you can see it anywhere, anytime at your convenience. But when you buy a Mizutani scissor from me, I will give you this for free. That's $300 value, and it's really a good deal.
Yeah, it's great. Sounds good.
So what's next?
Well, do you want to just recap real fast your haircut, or?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, what I liked about this haircut, it's a mid-length haircut, or almost a little bit longer. So it's a haircut that's very commercial, especially for like junior high, high school girls, college girls, and actually right now, this past year, this bob length has been really popular too. So perfect timing.
I really like the tips that you showed when you turn the head, to avoid the shoulder being in the way, and also like the way you take your section and you turn it and then you texturize it with the deep point cutting technique.
Yeah.
I really like that. I learned a lot.
And that's the whole thing. Like, yeah, you should memorize the haircut, but if you want to get more out of each haircut, not only from me but anybody else's haircuts, learn the techniques, because for example that pointing technique, use that on all your haircuts that you do right now. The dry cutting technique, use that on all your current haircuts. So you can use it on short hair, long hair, medium length hair.
Yeah, you can modify and adapt it to any kind of length.
Yeah. So instead of just learning one haircut, now you have something that you can use on a lot of haircuts.
That's great.
And then for the blow dry, just a nice simple blow dry.
What tools did you use when you blow dry the hair?
Well, on this one I used the Mizutani. It's their shoji brush, and it's a little bit harder bristle. So if you want to smooth the hair out, it works great for smoothing out frizziness.
And the blow dry you used was?
Ibiza.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
good. That's also
my
available
favorite.
on your website?
Yep. All the tools that I use, on the videos, are in my store. And I believe if I don't use it, then I shouldn't be selling it, because I want to sell and recommend products that I personally love and believe in. So I would hate to sell something that people would not like.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Even in the salon, you do the same thing.
Yeah, we do the same thing.
Okay, so we should social media time.
Yeah, let's talk about social. It's your turn this time. I always talk about it. It's your turn now.
All right.
Are we gonna bring back your friend?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we're gonna bring back Anthony. He's going to start off with the social media.
Just click subscribe. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. Beauty Mastermind.
What he does is he does 10-second songs on any artist you like, and I asked him to do Linkin Park. But social media is so important for your business, especially in the time that we live in right now.
We'll never say it enough.
Okay, so please, at the bottom of the page, leave a comment. It'll be connected to your Facebook. If you're on Hairbrained, Facebook, YouTube, share this video, subscribe, and you'll really be helping us out.
And also let us know what you think. Give us some comments, some feedbacks on things that you would like to see, things that that you like, and also things that you don't like. Who knows? And let us know if it works for you. All the tips that we gave you. Let us know what you think, please.
Okay. So in about 3 more days, we're going to be sending you another haircut, which Patrick here has done. And so keep an eye out in your email box. And this is Edwin and Patrick signing off, and we'll see you in the next video.